Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Inside Web3 Job Interview Series by Mighty Dell. I'm Jackie from the ecosystem team at Mighty Dell. Today's session is focused on exploring the role of a head of business development in Web3 space. Before we introduce our guests, I'd like to briefly share a bit about Mighty Dell. At Mighty Dell, our mission is to become the most impactful talent development community in Web3. We focus on helping professionals transition into Web3 industry through hands-on experience and direct guidance from industry experts. Whether you're just starting out or already experienced in your field, we aim to provide a space where you can grow, connect, and build meaningful relationships. We also aim to act as a bridge between Web2 and Web3, bridging together professionals from diverse backgrounds to collectively drive the growth and innovation of this industry. Thank you. Today, we're honored to welcome our guest, Ronald, who was most recently the BD lead at Asian8, a leading platform in the Web3 gaming space. In this sessions, we'll dive into his journey from Web2 to Web3 and explore what it takes to become an effective and impactful business development leader in this evolving industry. Let's hear his story and gain some insight into how he managed at the forefront of Web3 gaming. We also will have a Q&A session at the end of this interview. So feel free to raise your hand or drop your questions in the comment and I can help you ask Ronald. Ronald, thank you for coming on board. Before we dive in, I saw your recent post in LinkedIn. Congratulations on wrapping up your chapter at Asian8. I'm sure it must have been an exciting and meaningful journey, and I'm really looking forward to hear more about it today. Could you please give us a brief introduction about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hey, Jackie, thanks for inviting, and also thanks for taking the time for hosting this. Obviously, it's quite late. I suppose you're based in Taiwan, and it's pretty late there as well. Um, but yeah, I'm happy to be here. I know lots of people have asked me about this. Well, yeah, this is like my last month at Ancient Aid. I've been here for like almost 2 years. Well, actually more than 2 years. But yeah, I think GM Vietnam is like my final, like my last dance with the team, and I wanted to like sign off with on a high note. Obviously, for those who don't know me, my name is Ronald. I'm the head of BD at Ancient 8. We are an Ethereum Layer 2 on OP Stack. We have a suite of Web3 products serving as a distribution layer in the gaming and DApp space. We have games. We have our gaming guild. We also have our launchpad, and then we are building a couple of other products in the upcoming quarter. So obviously coming back to my decision on leaving that, I'm gonna share that later, but at some point when we are discussing. But I think at first I'm actually I'm really proud of being part of the team. I've obviously enjoyed my time being here. And the reason was that I just wanted to start a new chapter. I wanted to try different avenues, not just into gaming, but even other verticals in Web3, since I've already been in the industry and I've gathered enough experience and skill set to try different things. Um, yeah, so yeah, I think that was the sole purpose.
Yeah, that's it. Well, we'll talk about it your journey in Asian8 later. Let's start with your background. Could you walk us through your professional journey so far? I saw you previously work at Tencent. It's a Web2 giant company in China, right? What was that experience looks like for you?
Yeah, it was fantastic actually. Well, yeah, I did start with traditional background. So I've been in crypto for quite some time now, but that has mostly been like I would say desktop research and like personal trading experience. Also, to be clear here, I'm not a great trader. I'm a really bad trader. But yeah, it's mostly been like personal experience. But like professionally, yeah, I've also been a gamer since my childhood. I used to play a lot of League of Legends. And then that's I think that's one of the reasons why I landed my job in Tencent. Obviously, I completed my MBA back then. Um, I was like I spent around 3.5 years there, and it was a fantastic company to work with. There's nothing wrong. The only reason I left Tencent was because of COVID, because I had been there for a very long time and it was really painful, being in person. And obviously, if you guys have known what the situation was in China,
Right.
I mean,
Lockdown.
living there was completely different. So I decided like I have to move on. It was also a difficult decision, but I had my corporate experience. It was great. I worked very closely with the League of Legends Asia team, and then we had a great time together. I mean, both experience-wise and also having fun with colleagues, and then playing games sometimes. It was a nice fun, and taking part in co-hosting esports events. That was fun too. Yeah, I think that was the traditional background. I would say I did have some BD experience during that time because I was working with the platform, with the indie publishing studio, and we were like directly in charge of publishing with like having external developers publish in Greater China region. So so that was a part of it. But it was more like pipelines were clean, KPIs were pretty straightforward, and that's how it's normally is in typical Asian work culture.
Right.
Uh, but joining Ancient 8 was like a real ignition point. I would say that's when I had the chance to help scale one of the largest gaming. Back then we were just a gaming guild. We didn't even have a chain that time, so we grew a lot. We had our L2. We had so many products built. Yeah, I led BD across those all those strategic partnership, building out the launch campaigns for them as well, negotiating the ecosystem alliances, and obviously it's not been an easy ride. It's never been in Web3,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, you have to be a little bit degen at some point.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the journey has all been about connecting those dots from Web 2 to Web 3,
Yeah.
from centralized thinking to decentralized doing. Yeah, it's been great. It's been fantastic.
Before you moved to Ancient Eight, did you already know all those like technical terms, like technical knowledge? You already have those expertise, or you
Yeah.
started from Ancient Eight? Or
No, actually I had, because I told you I had like more personal experience in trading
okay,
and also getting connected to. I mean, even in gaming, I had played
okay.
Web3 games before, so
Hmm.
it was not like I wouldn't say it was straightforward, but it wasn't that
Yeah.
difficult transition. And also, well, I haven't mentioned that on my. Maybe I've mentioned that on my LinkedIn, but I was also Engineering is not my first Web3 venture, so
Hmm.
before joining Ancient 8, I was with Carve.
Okay.
So they're like building a data protocol AI lab. Back then, they were like just building a launch pad. I was there for like a couple of months. So the reason it was quite short, not because like I didn't like them, but it's just because I was actually preparing to leave China at that time.
Okay.
So it didn't really resonate with my future plans. But yeah, I think that was like we still share a really good relationship with the team, and we have even worked together. We did some deal flows with Ancient Aid. We hosted. They were one of our sponsors for our hackathon, Ancient Aid hackathon. That's where I reached out to Carve team. I even met like them so many times when they moved to Thailand later on, before they were based in China, right? So yeah. That was my first Web3, I would say, gig.
Okay.
But yeah, that was a very short time. So it was like, around 2, 3 months, I suppose. I don't even remember exactly. But yeah, it was in 2023, back in 2023.
Okay. Interesting. I also noticed you speak three languages, which is really impressive, right? Do you think being multilingual has helped you in your professional journey?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it helps to integrate into the culture. fast, and also adapt yourself, and even be more tolerant. So I would consider myself being more tolerant,
Okay.
and patient. That kind of helped me, um, live in a culturally, I mean, a very different society. Just to give you guys an idea, like I'm ethnically from India, so I
Okay.
went to a British school, and then after that I went to Australia for my university, and after that to China. So it was like totally like three different cultures,
It's very important.
and I had to blend in there. It wasn't easy, but it was also there are some ways that you can do it easily, and obviously one of them is speaking the language. That helps. Second is being a little more tolerant, because there are also at times we might have seen on even on Twitter at work, we face this. In school, when you're at university, even moving to another country, you face certain like stereotype
Yeah.
situations, or racism. Let's say I'm just being a little bit more
Yeah.
leaning towards that. But obviously, there are two ways you could deal with this: either by aggression, or like the second would be with your level of tolerance that you have. Sometimes you feel like, oh, you're better than that.
Right.
So yeah, I think that kind of helps.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to my journey. I also travel study abroad. I study from in Panama, Japan, and in
Yeah,
Taiwan as well. So, the culture differences really shape us, being more tolerant with their culture and all the stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely, man.
Hey, thanks for sharing your journey. I want to start talking about your work in Asian Aid. How's your daily workflow looks like?
Yeah, so I would say not every day is the same, but if you squint, like there is a certain pattern. So,
Okay.
um, in my team, we had like a team of three, I mean, PD team members, but actually I wear different hats in the team. I contribute to the product side, and even like the content side, even like the marketing, most core departments in our company, because we are still like consider a startup.
Okay.
So yeah, I would say like morning would be more like market scans. I check the trends, token flows, what's cooking on Twitter. um, yeah. I mean, at that time, I didn't really have many followers back then. I was just like few couple of hundred, and now I'm like over 3K. That was also like I started thinking about myself, building my own brand, my image in the space.
Yeah.
I also thought about like having some, not just like yapping
Mhm.
unnecessarily, but also having some content that actually resonates. What Either it resonates on what we do professionally at Intuit, or something related to my personal experience. Like I have used some dApps, or I've played some games. I share about it. So yeah, I think this is my motive. So that's what I do. I would say we are very flexible at Intuit. The work culture is really nice. It's like one of the best I've had, and obviously. Even if I'm leaving, I would still say like these guys are one of the best people I've worked with in my professional career. It was pretty hard for me, um, I still like feel a little bit upset at times, because I know it's not impossible to find great colleagues, but obviously you will be sad, because you know that you were working with some great people. But yeah, we have partner calls, we have proposal reviews, we also have internal syncs. That mostly happens in the afternoon, because like I said, we are quite flexible. We don't really believe in like everyone has to wake up in the morning and then go to office, or like start
Yeah.
sending. So that doesn't really happen at our in our culture, in our space. So yeah, we're quite flexible. Mostly the middays are quite busy, afternoons as well.
Okay.
So they're like more like deep work with drafting BD decks, or outreach strategies, or like even wrangling across the Notion docs. Yeah, so these are like you know basic daily work, I would say.
Interesting. Uh, with that said, how do you manage to maintain like efficient communication while working remotely with them? For me, I personally believe that communication is at the core of any strong team or company, especially in Web3 where things moving very fast. How do you manage to communicate efficiently? Do you have any tools or ritual or habits that can help you communicate better?
Yeah, absolutely. And also to tell you, like, majority of our like team members are in Asia. Obviously, a little
Okay.
bit different time zones, maybe
Okay.
1 or 2 hours. So that kind of helps. But we had one of our team members who was based in the West Coast, which is
Okay.
like around 13, 14 hours, behind me. So, and because I was his direct leader, it was also sometimes a little bit difficult, staying up. Either I had to stay up, like, or he had to, stay up late, or I had to wake up early. So I think it's okay to be a bit asynchronous, as long as you have a clear, structured updates on your. So whenever I prepare our OKRs, I just make it clear that it's nothing to do with, like, you have to complete it this time, but we have to see the efforts that we have put in, right? It's not about what time you're putting in the efforts. It doesn't have to be, yeah, obviously, it's always good to be in or around the same time zone, but yeah, I think it's okay. Like, if you're in a different time zone, it gets a little bit challenging, but it's not like impossible. It's like we have already like proved it in the past 1 year. We can do it. Um, I think we can also do some like voice, you know, over text nuances. So it means like some quick looms or voice notes instead of like 400-word
Mhm.
updates or like, you know, essays writing. So I don't like sometimes when you are like at the end of the day, you don't want to read that much.
Right.
Sometimes you have a quick call, like 10-minute chat. Let's just summarize what we've done today, and just wrap it up, right?
Right.
So yeah, and also like put a context before question, right?
Right.
If you go with that rule, like for example, I always explain like why I'm asking, not just like what I'm asking. So it
Okay.
just cuts the response time in half. And sometimes you just just wanna like say hi to your colleagues, and even like a GM at the in the morning is good enough. So people feel like at least you're like in sync.
Right.
Um, you don't really have to actively get involved in like every group chat or every conversation that is happening. That's why we have more than one team member, right? So it's not like one person is doing everything. So they also have their like free time, and then they have those hours they can actually rest. So yeah, I think we managed it pretty well in the last year.
Nice. How many team member in Asian Aid?
We have, I think, yeah, I'm not sure the exact number now. I think about more than 40, I would say.
Oh, wow, wow, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. Okay. Well, let's shift the focus on something just as important. You work with external stakeholder. I'd love to learn more about how you find and approach potential partners. How do you structure those win-win collaboration?
Yeah, so I mean, there are various ways that we do outreach. Sometimes, I mean, we find them. Sometimes they find us, and sometimes we just meet on a Twitter space like we are doing right now, you and I, Jackie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could happen at that time also, like when I talk and there are other panelists on a space. But it's like today is like just you and I talking, right? But
Right.
normally, like on Twitter Spaces, there will be other panelists as well.
Okay.
Um, yeah, sometimes we could meet up in those ways as well. So I would say I map the partners through like more like a community pulse, where like watching where
Okay.
the builders are gathering. Either it could be Farcaster, it could be TG. Sometimes we have the events where we co-host with with other partners, and where we potentially meet like some new guys out there, some new builders. Sometimes referrals work very well. Warm intros from like some blue chip NFT communities that you have. I'm part of like Pengu and
Okay.
Arc. So these are also like some blue chip NFTs. I mean, if you have seen on my Telegram profile, that's my Arc NFT. So We have some OG builders there as well, some referrals, some warm intros there. Helps a lot. Um, so yeah, I think most of the great deals they come from like being early in the room,
Okay.
like early supporters, and then we always believe in like scratching each other's back, like helping each other, give value to receive value. Let's say, for example, like we are hosting. So there is a Taipei blockchain week coming up, right? So, for example, if Mighty DAO wants to host something like co-host a side event, and then you guys want us to get involved in it, like you wouldn't just directly come approach me and then say, hey, we are hosting a side event, like would you want to sponsor? I mean, we have never talked to each other. How is that possible, right? So it's like what I mean by giving value to receive value is like, for example, we
Right.
already had a conversation, we have met before.
Mhm.
I met Tiffany before, and then we had a podcast together. So we have actually had some conversation, meaningful ones, and then we believe that we can actually do something together. So this is how we build that, the trust, the belief in us. So yeah, I think that is really important in Web3.
Nice. Uh, let's say when you have like a potential partners that you're looking on, how do you pitch them? Do you have any your ways of pitching your thoughts or something? Would you walk us through it?
Yeah, so like one of the ways I already mentioned just
Yeah.
now, like how we potentially, build that, elevate that, partnership by actually giving value to receive value.
Yeah.
Sometimes cold DMs, because I personally don't believe in cold DMs. And, they don't have to be cold, right? So I like break it down to like just do some prior research, prior DD, or like even some, you know, some research on what their latest release is, or like what pain points they have recently, and why they would need you, or even if they don't need you, how you could potentially, um, you know, help each other by partnering up. Then we create a timeline like, is there an urgency with the context? Are we preparing anything? We are preparing, let's say, our Q4 GTM. We would love to have you on board. We are hosting a side event. We would love to have you a part of it. Even if you're not sponsoring, we can still have you as a community partner. How we could potentially benefit from that. Then, yeah. Just tease a little bit, like give just
Right.
enough value to spark that curiosity, and
Hmm.
do not overwhelm them, right? Do not just keep going saying, hey, we have this coming, so why don't you just join us, and then bump them again in 2 days later, like, hey, we just a reminder that we have this coming, and then would you want to be a part of it? I mean, if they're not interested, obviously they wouldn't want to be it, right? So it just doesn't make you look good when you keep on
Right.
like slamming those messages, the DMs, or even like the group messages. It just doesn't look professional at all. Um, and if they are, I think they will reply in some shape or form.
Right.
So yeah, I always believe in that approach, and even I tell my team that not to be like so sticky in to the partners, because we always want to have them as long term. You know,
Right. So being
yeah.
respectful and honest, that's the way to approach,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Hmm. Which, well, what are some of traits that immediately make a potential partner stand out to you? Is it traction, tech, team, align with your mission?
I think a combination of all of those three.
Yeah.
Traction, of course, is important. I think team background is really important. I really value that. If they have a good team, a solid team, and even like if I don't know them directly,
Right.
the reputation is really important, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
in especially in this space. Yeah.
Exactly. What red flag would you see if the team has? Yeah.
Ooh, red flags. Um, yeah, so I mean, if there are like some red flags would be if they are basically looking at getting users, just directly buying users and then
Okay.
giving airdrops, because airdrop is basically like that. Even the play to airdrop in gaming is basically dead right now. So it just doesn't work anymore. That's why you might have seen so many game studios have closed down this year. It's really so you have to see the token of so what they're building, if they have anything else, any other plans within the team, not just building one game, because if the studio is just building one game, at some point it wouldn't be there anymore,
Right.
because we have seen a lot, and some of our portfolio games have also been rugged really bad, I would say. We're not really happy about it, because we can't really do anything. We just, because there are portfolio games, we feel like, oh, we should, we support it as much as we could. Yeah. So I think in this cycle, we should be just a little
Right.
bit more prudent on who we want to work with, rather than just aiming for uh,
Yeah.
bland users, and then even like just by giving investing their investors money, so which is not something that we want to happen. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I believe transparency is very essential for this industry. Would you say?
it is, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's. Not that common,
Right. Right. Would do you use any tools or any platform to help you manage the leads, traction, your track outreach, or qualify potential partners? Do you use any, like let's say Notion or Google Drive or something?
Yeah, we use Notion and Google both.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But other than that, we don't use any other, tools. Yeah, I know there are plenty of out there, and even like there's some AI tracking ones that come at a certain subscription like tier. But yeah, we never really needed to use that. I think for our roles, I think we are more like front facing guys, rather than like, I mean, being the face of the company and then positioning
Right.
ourselves as one of the vocal people in the company, rather than
Okay.
having all our like you know tools that we update every day. I think our actions speak more than our like words that we.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize between, talking to potential partners or internal meeting and long term strategy?
Um, but what do you mean? Like, which one do I prioritize? Or
Yeah, yeah. Which one would you prioritize first? Is it internal stakeholder or external stakeholder, or like a long
um,
term?
yeah. So this is like kind of a tricky one, I would say. Um, Let me think of it. So it really depends. We haven't had any critical
Or is there
situation.
any like a different stage? Like first stage we focus on something else, and second stage we focus on external, something like that.
Yeah, so it's like it depends on the situation. Like what are we planning to do at that point? So, for example, we had some big milestones. We had some big launches where we had to like. I think we needed to like work closely with the internal team, and then
Right.
we had to spend like more time, and then we had a really tight deadline. We had Harry the Bene launch, which was one of our like meme culture IPs, and the first IP on Ancient 8 as well. It's a
Right.
cat, and then there we really needed to work with our design team and our like community team, how we deliver the message to our community, because it's our first one. How do we make this launch successful? So that's where we needed to work more internally. There were also times that where we would focus more on the external ones, like for example the hackathon. That's where we needed, like, because we already had a host for our hackathon, so we didn't really have many tasks internally to do. So our job was to get like more, audience, media partners, sponsors for our hackathon, and at the same time also making sure that it doesn't really dilute, or let's say because we had GM Vietnam coming at that time. So we had our hackathon in December. So we just needed to make sure that we don't have those sponsors say like, oh, well, I mean, we're sponsoring GM Vietnam. Why should we sponsor another hackathon?
Mhm.
They're two different things, right? So one hackathon, what you're getting is you're actually getting connected to builders. So you don't really have to sponsor money. So the approach
Okay.
was a little bit different. So it can either be credits because we were talking to lots of infra providers. So yeah, it was just like how the approach is, right? It's not like going out there and you just pay us and then we'll do everything for you. That's not how it works.
Right.
So yeah, I think those situations where we focused more on like getting more infras on board. So we were like more externally, doing a lot more outreach than having internal syncs. Yeah.
Thank you for walking us through your approach. And let's talk about what it actually takes to become a great BD in Web3 in this fast moving, highly relationship driven space. Um, I love to hear your thoughts on the skills and mindset and even daily habit that can help you sharp and effective in this role. What would you say? What was the biggest skill set do you think that can make you a great Web3 BD? Is it through storytelling, technical knowledge, or negotiations? You know, what
Um,
would
Yeah, I think those would be more like the required ones.
okay?
But I mean,
Mhm.
you should have some tech knowledge. You should know your products at least. I mean, the very least you can do is like have sufficient knowledge of what you're building, right? So, what products do you have? You don't really need to go extensive into the infra side or even like the DevOps side. It doesn't, it's not necessary, but yeah, obviously it's your choice if you really want to dig deeper. But I think I have also been like, I've also got compliments from others, but I always like try to stay humble.
Yeah.
So I think that's something really important in Web3, just staying humble, because there are times where you get funds as well, where not just yourself but your company. You just need to know how to strategically approach them. Those people, there could be your partners as well. They're not very happy with what you did, or let's say even like a small event that didn't turn out like the results didn't turn out to be how they expected. Um,
Right.
so obviously there will be complaints. There will be some unsatisfactory remarks. Yeah, I think you just have to a little bit more. You know, like I would say, patient and then humble at that time. So it's okay to take criticism and then also improve at the same time, rather than fighting back to criticism, which is something that which is a personality I wouldn't really you know suggest having in a BD. Then also being like narrative sharpness. So if you can't pitch it to someone like, let's say when we are talking about ancient eight, right? So
Right.
I start storytelling, right? What if someone is not really interested in listening to the stories, right? So
Yeah.
you've already lost the room. You have already lost that vibe within yourself. So just make it in the pitch in two sentences. I think that could also work, right? And then build that spark within yourself. So what the listener actually wants to hear from you. You have to be a little bit more tactical and a little bit more smart to understand that person, what the person actually wants. Relation, trust. I think that's one of the core things in core elements in BD. I think being trustworthy is way more important than being flashy. So it's still people to people, I would say. So relationship and trust is very important.
Thank you. Thank you. I personally believe that also. I think if you have if you know how to read the rooms and you know what people talk when people talk, we try to what do you say, like to see what he's talking, and then we try to emphasize what they're saying, right? Let's move on. I want to talk about like how do you personally stay up to date with new projects and trends? Any daily habit or tool you recommend?
Well, I mean, there are plenty out there. So, I
Yeah,
mean, in general, I would say like Farcaster is also there are lots of alphas recently. I think there's less noise than Twitter, and also Farcaster is like more like a paid one. So it's not much. It's just $5, but yeah, it still makes you. I mean, just filters out the bot accounts a lot more than Twitter. But obviously, Twitter is like the most common one, right? Twitter and Discord. So it's still the front line. Obviously, I can scan for like users based growth signals. For tools, I think I use DeFi Llama, Token Terminal, dashboards to see some analytics. I think there is one called Dune. I'm not sure
right.
if you have heard of
Mm,
that. Their dashboards are
yeah,
pretty good, and we see like when we are doing some due diligence on some projects, we see the Dune dashboards. And there is another one called I think it's called DAP Radar. Um, that's also like I mean when we used to do research on the games on the teams and they're like track them their metrics, their daily transactions, their TVL, everything about the project. We used to go to DAP Radar a lot. Yeah, I think we also do like monthly ecosystem drift sessions, like where there's something that I would recommend, to be honest. Like when you do these ecosystem drift sessions, we kind of brainstorm with our colleagues because not everyone's research um, method is the same as like for me, for example, the way I do it, not basically it's not the same that our ecosystem lead or like our product lead would do it, right? So sometimes we have our leaders call, we have these ecosystem drift sessions where we pick a new chain, or let's say we pick a new ecosystem, a new vertical. We dive in, we share what we know about it, and then if someone is totally new to that, he just listens and then he does his own research. Yeah, that's how it happens, and then that's fun sometimes. Like it's just out of curiosity, um, and then that's where you say, oh, like my team members have done their work on this. Then maybe let me try and test it out. If it's a new game or like a new product, why not? I should try it out, right? So yeah, I think this one also kind of helps staying up to date with what's happening. Another one would be yeah, if you're part of any communities like I mentioned, I'm part of Arc and Pengu. We have some Cabal groups as well, where we share some like alphas. We share some events, updates, new releases. So I think that those are pretty cool as well, I would say.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let me ask. What are some of the challenges you have faced so far in Asian Aid? Like any particularly down terms happens in
Oh,
Asian?
yeah, that's a tough question. I don't know how I should answer it. I think I don't think I've faced many challenges. To be honest, like, I mean, I've worked with so many different cultures. Like, even like transitioning from a Chinese work culture to a Vietnamese, because essentially Engineer is like Vietnamese, right? So I would say 85% or 90% Vietnamese. So it was like yeah, adapting a little bit. Like so I used to have that thinking that oh well, culturally they're very similar, so should be work culture should be smooth. Well, it's not really. So there are also some differences. Not big differences, but our team is young. Our team is like more fast forward, and also they understand. Not just about like, even if I talk about my co-founder, he not just cares about what results that you deliver. He also cares about your mental well-being. He also cares about your personal life, not like intervening to someone's personal life, but also caring about. Yeah, it doesn't mean that you have to interrupt in their personal life, right? So it means like you actually value their personal
Mhm.
life. So for challenges, I think um, mostly it was related to the work, not internally within the team. I would say convincing some partners to for long-term value in a short-term, in a bad market. It was also difficult at some point, and there were like at times where people were not bullish on gaming. And even still at this point, there are lots of chains that are not bullish on gaming. There are lots of VCs that don't want to invest in games.
Mhm.
So there were some difficulties like this. Um, one month it could be like they're promising the world, the next month they ghost you. You know, this is very common in Web3. Um, Over promising, under delivering.
Right. Yeah.
It's not like, so what we do is like we have always believed in like under promise, so we don't really make a lot of noise. But what we deliver, we want to deliver that to the best. So it's like we don't want to say that we can do this, we can do that, but actually when we release our products, we can show that okay, we actually have these stuff, and then we what we're doing is like we actually been running for 4.5 years. It's not been easy with two different cycles, and then even the team has the conviction, have been actively building even through the bear markets. Those, I think those were the challenges, I would say. There is no like personally I haven't faced any challenge, but I think more like from the BD side, a couple of challenges, and obviously from the market. Yeah.
Okay. What about some of the fulfilling moments as a BD that you're in during your time in Asian Aid?
Um, Fulfilling moments. I think there are a couple of them. I think this is more like an interview. It's like if I'm interviewing for a new company, right? They will be asking, what's your biggest achievement at engineering?"
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I think couple of them. One of them was like I was part of the Optimism Grant Council, where we got like an Optimism grant to onboard like games and dApps. To Engine 8. So we had that launched um, at the start of this year, and I was a part of that internally
Yeah.
and externally. So we had the review phase, we had the selection phase, we had the milestone phase. I think that was like where I was actively involved, and then I also had a I would say a big say in onboarding like the games that we have, or not just games, we also have like infras and dApps. So we onboarded like 5 projects. It was also quite challenging, and I think we made the right choice. Some of the games that we didn't choose, and they had like big numbers. Obviously, they could have got us big players. I don't want to name them, but some of them actually rugged, and they're already closed down. So I think we made the right choice. I think that was one of those fulfilling moments. Working with those visionaries and even like internal leads and even the external ones from Optimism,
Right.
and then selecting those games quality projects and onboarding them. Apart from that, we also had a brainstorming session where we would be, talking about how we could make our ecosystem stronger. We obviously, I wouldn't say we are like a huge chain or like a huge ecosystem. There are obviously bigger ones like Base, there's Solana, whatnot, Avalanche. So how can we have without like over promising or making too much noise? How can we prove our worth? How can we make onboarding easier for our user, or like from the I would say grassroots level, how we can like have our players or our users just come in and then not face those complexities that they have in Web3. So we built our super app. This year we had this brainstorming session with the team, and it was obviously proposed by our BD team to have like all the LPs swapping, bridging, marketplace all at the same place. So
Right.
basically, we don't have to go to third party channels. We don't have to go to third party protocols to do all these things. We can just do all at the one place. I think that kind
Wow.
of helped. That also
Yeah. Definitely.
we made everything public actually. So if you go to our website, you can see the TVL, you can see the daily transaction, everything. So yeah, that was a great moment, I think. Yeah, apart from that, I don't What else? I think that was like having you know, it's more like personal, I would say. So last year I had some issues, me personally, with work and relationship wise. I was actually pretty down at that time. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, and then I was like I wasn't sure that if I'm gonna work, maybe I could have just resigned and then take a break for myself. But yeah, I think my colleagues, they were really supportive. They were like a rock in the team, and they were pretty nice. I mean, I never expected I would have such colleagues in my team.
Mhm.
Even my co-founder, he was pretty nice. He even supported, like, he said, "Oh, you can just take a break for a month, and then we still like have you in the team. If you don't, just release everything, and then just start over, start new, start fresh. Um, that could help, bring back all the energy that you and we actually value you in the team. So yeah, that kind of motivated me, and then helped me uplift my energy. Um,
Mhm.
it's been like almost one year. Yeah, that was last year in May. This happened, and then I was pretty upset. And everything was like, I even had depression and anxiety at some point, which normally doesn't happen to me. It never happened to me in my professional career. So, and that moment was really crucial. So, yeah.
I hope you're feeling okay right now.
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moved on really well. Yeah. I had
Yeah.
fantastic people, to work with. I even met my other half at that time. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and she was
That's nice.
and in Vietnam when I was in Vietnam that time. So yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate your honest reflection on the challenges and fulfilling moments. It really gives us a real sense of what it looks like to grow into this role, both professionally and personally. I- Thank you. I want to talk about just a little bit about the industry as a whole and your thoughts on the future on GameFi. I noticed in this bull market, it feels like GameFi hasn't really regained the spotlight, at least not in the way AI or RWA have. Aside from maybe Maple Story, I haven't seen major GameFi project gaining widespread tractions. Or maybe I'm just missed it. I'd like to hear your perspective. What do you think about the future potential of GameFi?
Yeah, I would say it's right now. I'll just be brutally honest here. It looks very bleak at this
Right.
time. It's been like a while now, and not just a week or two. It's been few months now, or I
Right.
would say since the start of this year. Um, it's not been picking up, and then we have also been optimistic, not because we are building on optimism, but yeah, as
Uh-huh.
an adjective, we have been we have been very optimistic. um, but it's not just us, right? So even if we have the conviction, we have to see what the market has appetite for. And also one of the reasons why, I know in the start of the conversation, the start of the space, you asked me like, um,
Yeah.
why I decided to start a new journey, right? So I think this was one of the reasons. I also thought about myself, my own personal career, like even my family. Well, I mean, my immediate family is not here, so by my family I mean my girlfriend and my dog. So that's the immediate family that I have with me, and my also my long term future. So I don't think, like, I've already been in the gaming industry for quite some time now. I think it's already, I've got the skill sets and then the experience that are needed.
Yes.
So I think I can leverage that, and I even have interacted with all the DeFi protocols from the start. So I've spoken to a few teams. I don't want to spill the beans now. Obviously, some good news might be coming. I'm not worried at all. I just wanted to say goodbye on a very polite, and then obviously on a high note, and give
Yes.
my best in my last month. So for gaming, it could take some time. It could take a year or so.
What do you think is missing right now for Game Five? the better gameplay or
No, I
fewer
don't
focus
think it's
model?
about gameplay. I think there are also some games that actually have a good gameplay, but
Okay.
I think it's missing the spark from the users, because most of the users that we have, they are
Okay.
just coming for earning and getting airdrops, right? So once
Right.
they get there, and then obviously when it comes to earning potential, the game studios, they use all their investors' money, and after that, there is a point that there is no return, right? So they just dry, and there's no way they could carry on, so they shut down. Um, I think that needs to stop at some point, because I think lots of people in our space have actually realized this. Even those people who have been saying like, "Oh, Web3 gaming is always inevitable." It's not always inevitable. So we have to be realistic, So yeah, we need to know like, okay, what kind of products are actually working. So recently AI has been pretty solid. We have seen virtuals doing pretty good. We have seen pudgy penguins. They have just doing a lot of activations. They even had like an entire building with the pudgy icon in Malaysia Blockchain Week. I saw some of our DAO members post that. It was fantastic. So they're building. Having said that, I also know that they have been building games, but the thing is like they're not building games as a game studio. They're building games with their brand, their pudgy IP. So they
Okay.
have they have everything connected to Pengu, which is like the native token. So I think these are the cases that I still believe like, even though the games are not that interesting, they would still work pretty well. They would still have the required results that they need. Um, that much confidence I have in the ecosystem. And obviously there are like lots of others. There's Hyperliquid as well, which is doing great. And then there are so many like L2s that build. There's Orderly Network. There's also another L2 on Superchain. We are very close to them, and they have like an order book where you basically provide um, the backend infra to the builders. Let's say games, let's say wallets, embedded wallets, and they don't really need. So there is no front end basically. So you just provide the backend, and then you provide the liquidity, and it's omni chain. So when users are coming, they don't really know that what chain they are using and what chain they've been using to swap or bridge. So I think these are some of the innovative ones. There's Ethos, the reputation protocol, which shows how much reputable you are on
Right.
Twitter, or even in the entire Web3 space. I think these are some of those that I see could scale in a long term, and obviously they wouldn't just fade us. Yeah, unlike gaming.
Is
Yeah.
there any GameFi project that you recommend for us to take a look at right now?
Um, I mean, the ones that I would recommend would be actually tied to the ones that like the bigger ecosystems. Like for
Okay.
example, if there is a game, like for example, like I said, Pudgy, right? They're building two games.
Right.
There's one more coming very
Hmm.
soon, and obviously those chains, the gaming focused chains, for example, Immutable. There is Base. Um, then there is. What else? Solana has some good games as well. So I think, yeah, those you can take a look. And there are some studios that I have believed in from the very beginning. I think one of them is called Corpo
Okay.
World. They're called Corpo World. They're pretty good. They have built not just one game, but like I think three or four. They have been Animate, their Citizen Conflict. They're doing pretty good. Another one would be what's that called? Ready Player One, Bravo Ready. They're not like that great, I would say, but obviously they are sustainable. They
Hmm.
have they have achieved that player retention, which is pretty good in this kind of market conditions.
Right.
Um, And obviously play internet games. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
thank you so
we
much.
have some good projects, like the
Yeah,
ones we onboarded through the grant program. I think they're pretty promising. Yeah, I can
yeah.
confidently say that. Yeah, they're pretty
Okay, we'll
promising.
definitely look into that as well. Okay, thank you, so much, Ronald, for the amazing insight and thoughtful sharing throughout the interview. We'd like to open to the audience. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or drop them in the chat, and I'll help you ask. Anyone want to raise your hand? Okay, I see 3 questions from Kai. How do you quickly understand and build community in different culture markets? How do you find a common communication framework across market to keep the brand consistent?
Yeah, so I think cultural context is everything. Obviously,
I'm Raymond.
hey guys,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can
yeah.
you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
I can hear you. Okay, hello Ronald. I'm the BD of the Get.io. So I have the question about, uh, sorry.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Raymond. I thought there was a question from Kai. So, which one should I answer first?
Okay. My question is, as a BD lead, what key indicators do you look for in early stage with the games that signal strong potential for long-term success?
Can you come again, Raymond? I didn't really get it.
Okay. I say again. Okay. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can, but your voice is a bit echoing, so it's not like I feel like you're in
Okay.
the auditorium.
Okay. As a BD lead, right? What key indicators do you look for in early stage Web3 games that signal strong potential for long-term success?
The key indicators, you mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think for games, I think Jackie had already asked this to me before. So what I would personally look is um, the team background, who the team is, who the angel investors are, who their advisors are. So I would basically do a lot of digging on the background. That's the first one. The second one is like if they're building just one standalone product, or they're building a lot of different things, if they have any such thing in their roadmap. If they're building just one product, but it's only game, but there's nothing else. It's just a regular game. But I think that I mean that's not essentially a red flag, but I wouldn't bet on that. I wouldn't gamble on that. I would rather prefer a studio that has a suite of products or a suite of games,
Right.
because that kind of if one doesn't work out, then you can obviously have like a lot more promising ones that would, you know. And then another one would be what support they're actually looking for, from the ecosystem side. Like, for example, if they're building or deploying on our chain, are they just hunting for grants from us? Are they just looking to get the money out of us by providing vanity metrics? This is also something that I would really focus on. If they want to go multi-chain, let them go. But if they say, "Oh, we have like a million players already, and we would want a million grant from you," that's not going to work, mate. So, so yeah. So I think these three are the most important ones that I would see, and I would also want my team to see, because I think professional background in the industry is really important. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no
This is
worries,
your
man.
sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move back to
Kai,
Kai's
yeah.
questions. Yeah. So I'll say again. How do you quickly understand and build community in different culture markets? And how do you find a common communication framework across market to keep the brand consistent?
Yeah, I think cultural context is really important, because someone who, let's say, if I were a builder, if I were a co-founder of a project, I would have a BD who's like, who, I mean, I wouldn't hire someone who just speaks good English or like who's good looking. I would hire someone who's culturally not sensitive, who can actually
Okay.
understand different cultures, how they work, how you communicate with partners, right? How do you adapt your pitch
Right.
and incentive design to local values? For example, even as a regular, um, a community member or even like a trader, I would say what motivates a trader in Korea is different from what a person in Vietnam. So, so obviously, I also make like onboarding personal. Sometimes we have like customized, messages sent. We also have like the way we interact with our partners, knowing that what culture they are from. We also adapt ourselves, and then a little bit more flexibility, helps. Sorry, that was my dog. That was not me. Yeah.
No worries.
If you thought that my voice suddenly changed, so it was not me. Yeah. Yeah, I think, man, like it's like how I think the most important part is how you make them comfortable in that
Mhm.
environment, and they don't feel like, oh, isn't actually a cultural barrier between us. I feel so comfortable. I even feel more comfortable talking to this person than talking to someone from my own country. That's where you actually win. That's if you can make that person feel that there is actually, even if there is you speak two different first languages, but if you can make that person comfortable in that setting, I think that's where you actually win as a BD.
Thank you. Thank you. That's very insightful. Second question, Kai also asked, uh, you mentioned in LinkedIn intro making product more lovable. What does that mean in practice, and how do you connect a brand with players on a emotional levels? I think that's
Right. So making a product lovable means like listening to what your users want, right? So, for
right.
example, there were some products that we built. Like I said, I was talking about the super app. I think at some point during the brainstorming. Um, I think it was just mentioning like how we pitched this idea to our product team. So it's basically what we thought is we wanted our users to to have that seamless experience, right? So um, they were facing problems. There were some times in the community they would ask, "Oh, how do I swap this ancient token? Like, oh, it's so troublesome. We have to go to a third-party swap." I mean, obviously they are partners. They're also our partners. We would obviously want to. We have three external partners, third-party swaps. But why not? Why not like make
Mhm.
everything seamless for them? Why not have? Why do they have to go to another platform, or why do they have to go to another marketplace? Why not have everything at the same place? And then but it's not just what we thinking. Do they want the same thing? Do we really resonate with their um, expectations? So once we listen to them, once we hear out their like opinions, when we see like what makes it easy for them, what makes them stick to us, I think that's where we provide our value to our products and even like make the product more meaningful.
Thank you. Does that answer to your question, Kai? Oh, Kai also have a third questions. You often work across very different roles. How do you adapt and learn so quickly in this shift? In these shift?
Oh, Kai seems to have a lot of questions today. All right.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I did. I think cultural adaptation comes from, um, position your roles in your company or your workplace. It's very closely related to your, your expertise, your interest. I think the first one would be interest, how keen you are to take a certain responsibility. So since my childhood, I have always, been wanting to step out of my comfort zone, to try something different. Coming from a family which is like, I wouldn't say about my family, but my race, or like a country where culturally very different from, the rest of Asia. Um, and then where people like don't really step out of their comfort zone. It's not that common. Um, that was a turning point in my personal life. The first time when I moved to England, I was very young that time. There was a very short time. There was like a few months where we had the school program going on, um, but yeah, I think that's where I felt like, okay, I can do things for myself. I can actually adapt to a new system. If I can do that on a cultural level, why can't I do that on a professional level? Why can't I do that on an educational level? So I can also, like, my undergraduate and my postgraduate were also different majors. So, and that was
Yeah.
also a transition. Even like from that, coming to working in a different setting, um, I think it's just made seamless. I think the most important thing was about how much interest I have in taking up that responsibility, how much interest. And the second one would be personality, showing some character, um, and making yourself stand out in front of others, making yourself comfortable in front of others. So at this point, I feel like, both personally and professionally, I don't feel like any person who wants to talk to me, he would be uncomfortable, because it's not because I am saying like, oh, I can speak their language. No, it's not. I can't speak every language, right? But the thing is, I can adapt myself to that person's, character, or that person's behavior, and make him or her feel comfortable. Um, and make that person feel like, oh, we don't really have any barriers. I can effectively communicate with this guy, even if he or she is a stranger to me. We have never met before. Yeah, I think that's one of my, I would say, hidden talents that I'm actually very proud of.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Hello, Ronan. This is Sober. I'm the founder of Mighty DAO. And yeah, thank you so much for all your insightful sharing. And I got two questions, and I want to hear from your experience and perspective. The first one is hackathon. How important of hackathon? How does hackathon mean to Asian Aid, such a gaming there? And what is role and how important of it to expand ecosystem? And what's the OKR or success metric? And any challenges the team will face, and how the team will solve is the first question. And the second question is, will you be Singapore in October, token 2049? I would love to meet you in person. Yeah, well, there if you will be there.
Yeah, I'll start from the second one first. I'll be there in Token 2049. I'll be there in
Great.
Taipei Blockchain Week. I'm speaking there. I'm actually based in Taiwan.
Oh, great.
So,
Really?
yeah, I moved here 2 months ago. I'm based in Taipei.
Great.
Yeah, I'm based in Taipei.
Cool.
So I'll be in Singapore. I'll be in Japan next month for WebEx. I'll be this day after tomorrow. I'm flying to Vietnam for GM Vietnam, so I'll be there for 10 days. Obviously, GM Vietnam is not for 10 days, but I'm like, my other half is there, so I'll be spending some time with her in Vietnam and meeting some friends.
And why choose Taiwan for your base? Because your girlfriend is in Vietnam, right?
Yeah. So I mean, we're moving to Taiwan together. But
great.
like, I moved first because I had to bring my dog over. So yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, from Hong Kong.
Yeah,
So I was
stay in
based in
touch.
Hong Kong before. Before.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll be at Gym Vietnam. I'll be at WebEx Japan. I'll be in KBW most likely. I'm not like 100% sure. But Singapore, I'll be there as well. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Keep in touch.
Yeah. Coming back to hackathon. Yeah. So it's like what you want to achieve from the hackathon. Are you doing this? Are you hosting this just for the sake of it, like because you just want to do some, as an event, or do you really want to leverage um, the local builder community, and then you want to get, maybe potentially you can get some developer for your, or even like some roles that you're hiring for, you can get them through the hackathon as well. So it has many purposes, right? So what your actual purpose is. Do you really want to host a hackathon for just for the sake of prize pool, or just you want to onboard them to your chain? There could be many ways. We had the hackathon, and then we had the grant program running. So we had a participant who actually applied for the grant program, and also was a part of the hackathon, and eventually that he turned out. So it was a win-win for us, because they were like the top 5 winners from our hackathon, and they also were nominated for the grant program. So we didn't have to spend double on this, and we kind of minimized our budget on that, like getting, killing 2 birds in the same same strike. So yeah.
Yeah, back to the basic. Yeah, what's the purpose? Yeah, I know. Thank you for your sharing.
Awesome. Yeah.
Thank you. Any more questions?
I don't have other questions. I hope no one has. Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's wrap it up. Once again, a big thank you to you, Ronald, for such a thoughtful and insightful sessions today. From your personal journey to your industry perspective, your sharing totally really showed us that you're not only a talented professionals, but also someone who's generous and willing to help others. You really help us gain a deeper understanding of what it means to be a head of BD in Web3. And you're giving us so much valuable takeaways to reflect on. So on behalf of Mighty DAO, we'd like to thank you for coming on board and share your journey with us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate taking the time to
Thank
organize
you.
this, and also, yeah, excited to meet you guys at some point, and even like whenever you feel free, like chatting, or even like some advice. My DMs are always open. Yeah, happy to chat.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I also like to thank everyone who joined us today. And this interview was brought to you by Mighty DAO, a community that dedicated to helping more talent success into Web3 through hands-on learning and real-world experience. If you enjoyed today's sessions, be sure to follow us at Mighty DAO. We got more upcoming interviews with professionals across different roles, all focused on giving you actionable insight into Web3 careers and what possible in this space. Thanks again for being here. And thank you, Arnold. And we'll see you soon next time. Keep
Yeah,
in
see you
touch.
guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jackie, Ronan. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.